Hello, my name's Angus Tickner, student number 21015253, and this is Writing Past Lives, assignment 1. The historical figure I am planning to write about in my final assignment is Niki Lauda. Niki Lauda was an Austrian Formula One driver and aviation entrepreneur, born on the 22nd of February 1949. Niki won 3 Formula One World Championships and is the only driver to win one for both Ferrari and McLaren, the two most successful teams in Formula One history. His first championship occurred in 1975. The following season is one of the most famous and spoken about stories in the history of Formula One. Through 9 races, Lauda had twice as many points in the championship as his closest competitor in second, who was James Hunt. James Hunt was Lauda's arch rival and had been for their junior days of racing. Their rivalry is considered one of the greatest in Formula One history. The 10th race of the season was held at the infamous Nürburgring. Due to extreme weather and safety concerns, Lauda tried to convince the other drivers that the race should not go ahead, but was outvoted by the rest of the racing field. On the second lap, Lauda crashed and his car burst into flames. He sustained burns that costed him his eyelids, half an ear, and a large portion of his scalp. He also inhaled toxic gases and was in a coma. He was administered his final rites by a priest in hospital when he was in a coma. He recovered, only missing 2 races, which Hunt won, which led to an exciting fight for the 1976 World Championship. Leading by 3 points heading into the final race in Japan, Lauda withdrew due to safety concerns. Hunt finished in 3rd place to capture the World Championship by 1 point. Lauda later died on the 20th of May 2019. My research question evolves around what I'm hoping to discover: what drove Niki Lauda to come back and compete in the 1976 World Championship after sustaining life-threatening injuries. There could be many answers to this question without looking too deep into it, such as it could be to prove his parents wrong about him. Could it be due to his fierce rivalry with James Hunt? Could it be due to his own self-pride? Or could it be due to looking after his family? Some key words that I will use to help me research this topic are Niki Lauda crash. It is one of the most famous crashes in the history of the sport. Therefore, there is lots of information and critical thinking about it. James Hunt. So James Hunt was his arch rival, which he competed against for many years. He is also a polarising figure within the sport. They were also considered opposites in their characters, James being the more talented and skilled, but Niki with the work ethic and determination. The 1976 Formula One Championship. This is the championship year in which Lauda crashed and that he competed against Hunt in a fierce title chase. Nürburgring. The famous racetrack which the crash took place, much controversy surrounded how it was considered seriously outdated and the safety standards were considered not up to current standards before the crash. Famous Formula One rivalries, as Nicky and James' rivalry was so iconic. I may be able to find more information looking at that. So I have identified some biographical material. So 5 Lives Daily looks back at the horrific accident at the Nürburgring Grand Prix. This has some quotes from Niki Lauda and various other drivers who competed that day that Nicky crashed. It also has some reactions from spectators who were there. It also gets some quotes from Nicky while he was in hospital and once he got out of hospital and came back racing. The Beyond the Grid podcast with former team manager Daniele Ordetto. So Daniele Ordetto was the team manager of Ferrari when Nicky had his crash and describes what happened on the day and what happened post-hospital. And Rush, the movie, which is based about what I'm writing about. While it might not be completely factual, it is based on the story, and it may allow me to get more of a sense of how the characters acted and potentially an inside of their personal lives. Some critical concepts and sources which I've found so far, which will help me with my research and writing, is a piece called Rush, the Movie, the Myth, the Machines, the Men. And another one is Shunt, the story of James Hunt. So that's about accounts of his life. So my steps for research. Firstly, I will start by watching the movie Rush. This will give me a good understanding of what I'm writing about, and it's a nice, easy introduction. Although it may not be entirely accurate, it will give me a good understanding of what I'm interested about. I will then go on to read some biographical material to get a deeper understanding of Nicky and his personal life and his characteristics. I will then probably listen to that podcast as it will give me an experience and feel from a first-hand witness. I can then read some critical concepts to see how other people interpret what happened and to get an accurate understanding of what actually happened. I will then follow by writing from the knowledge I have learned. So, whether I'm going to write fictional versus biographical, at the moment I'm leaning towards writing using biofiction. I think I want to use my knowledge and the research I've done to tell the story my way without straying too far from the truth. I think I would like to explain some of my views towards Nicky through some of the information I have absorbed by watching the movie. It may allow me to get a bit more creative and tell the story through a different perspective. And this is my bibliography, and I've got all the critical concepts and biographical pieces in there, and also the photos in there too.